Hello, this is Taylor Ellwood, your mad scientist and magical experimenter at magicalexperiments.com. Alright, so it's been 2 weeks since I recorded a video. My apologies to all of you who didn't see a video last week. I was away at Convocation doing talks on magic. Fun stuff. And I want to say two quick things. One, before we get into our story today. One, I want to thank those of you at Convocation who took the time to come up and say hello and say, hey, I've seen you on YouTube. Awesome. I loved meeting you. You people are wonderful. And two, did you all know that I actually have a podcast? I do. I have a podcast, Magical Experiments podcast, where I interview people about what they're doing with their magic or paganism or whatever else, and it's every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so let's get on to part 2 of my story. So as I was telling you last time, I engaged in a 7-week working using the 7 stages of alchemy, and the second stage of alchemy is dissolution. It's learning to let go. So as you might recall, I calcinated myself spiritually. I basically burned myself to ashes, dealt with all my anger issues, all that fun, crazy stuff, right? And so then I'm getting ready to move to Seattle with the person I'm with at the time. And it's so appropriate that that week is dissolution, because really what I'm doing is I'm letting go of my roots on the East Coast. I'm moving away from Pittsburgh, the city I was born in. Never mind that I hadn't lived there for years. It was still like a homecoming, okay? I'm moving away from Pittsburgh. And then we're stopping in Kent, Ohio, and we're packing all my crap onto the truck. And I'm not having too good of a time of it either. I kind of lose my temper at one point. I'm all like, is there going to be enough room? All this other stuff. And then we're driving down to Missouri where her parents are and staying there for a couple days. And then we're driving all the way to Southern California and then up Southern California through Portland, which at the time I didn't know was going to become my eventual home. I wish I had, because I could have spared myself a miserable year of hell in Seattle if I had done that. And then I moved up to Seattle, and there I am in this big-ass city where it literally takes an hour to drive anywhere. It doesn't matter, you're 5 minutes, it still takes you a fucking hour to get there. There I am, and what I have done is I have dissolved my roots. I have dissolved my connections. I'm alone in this strange place where I'm staying at relatives of the person I'm dating at the time. And that's awkward in and of itself, especially because it was like, oh, well, we're going to be there for a weekend, and then it turned into a whole month. Yeah, needless to say, that was a little awkward. Awkward! Anyway, but during that week, I'm driving this honking big-ass truck across the country. I'm doing driving most of the time, okay? I'm the one who drives most of the time on this trip, because this truck is huge and it's scary and it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to us if it crashes or whatever else. So I'm driving, I'm like nerves of steel, but at the same time I'm dissolving away from everything that I've known, and I feel this great sadness in me because I have no more roots. And that's part of that internal work, that sometimes you have to dissolve from everything you've known, everything that you have been part of, in order to embrace the unknown and to embrace what will happen next. And speaking of what will happen next, you might be wondering, well, next week I'll share what happens next. In the meantime, I also want to encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and if possible, join my e-newsletter, because I will be launching my masterclass Joy fairly soon. And if you want to understand how to take the internal work and the alchemical processes and apply them to yourself, then that is a class you're going to be very interested in. Hey, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful weekend.